I killed my father with my bare hands on a Tuesday night in July. The kind of sticky Chicago heat that makes the air feel like it's choking you. And I didn't feel a goddamn thing except the snap of bone under my knuckles. Not regret. Not triumph. Just the hollow echo of 20 years' worth of "you're nothing" ringing in my ears as his eyes bulged out, pleading like he hadn't spent a lifetime breaking me. But here's the kicker. He deserved it. Or at least that's what I told myself while the blood pooled on the linoleum of that shitty diner booth. Because if I hadn't done it, the whole twisted empire he'd built on my back would have swallowed me alive, again. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Patricide's the ultimate sin. The kind that lands you in hell with a reserved table. But in the Windy City, where loyalty's just another word for leverage, sometimes the only way to stand tall is to bury the ones who tried to keep you buried. That booth in Gino's diner hadn't changed since I was a kid. Same cracked red vinyl seats. Same flickering neon sign buzzing. Open 24/7 like a migraine you can't shake. I was 16 the last time I'd sat there with him, nursing a milkshake while he tore into me about bombing algebra, his voice low and venomous over the sizzle of the grill. "You'll end up flipping these burgers, Tommy, 'cause that's all a loser like you's good for." I believed him then, swallowed it like the cherry pie he never paid for. Because Dad, Jack Harlan, king of the South Side's underbelly, was the kind of man who made doubt feel like gospel. He ran numbers for the old Irish mobs back in the 90s, then pivoted to real estate scams when the syndicates crumbled, always one step ahead, always dragging me into the shadows of his deals. Mom died when I was 8. Official story was overdose. But I remember the bruises, the way she'd flinch at his raised voice, and after that, it was just us. Him molding me into his reluctant apprentice. His legacy. By 18, I was in over my head. He had this side hustle, flipping foreclosed properties in the black neighborhoods of Englewood, jacking up rents on families already one eviction notice from the streets, then accidentally torching the places for insurance when the tenants couldn't pay. Insurance fraud, arson for hire, the works. I was the muscle, the lookout, the idiot kid who believed it was building something for us. One night in '08, during the crash, we hit a snag on a row house off Halstead. Tenant was a single mom, Maria Ruiz, fighting tooth and nail with a lawyer from some do-gooder firm. Dad wanted her gone quiet. I suggested talking her down. He laughed, called me soft, then handed me the gasoline can. "Light it up, son, or you're next on the list." I didn't. Instead, I tipped her off anonymously, watched from across the street as she packed her kids into that beat-up Chevy and peeled out before dawn. Dad found out how. I'll never know, and that was the end of my fairy tale. Cops showed up 2 weeks later with warrants for the arsons, my prints on the cans from helping with prior jobs. He pinned it all on me, the kid with the record for shoplifting candy bars at 12. The easy mark. Testified against me in a plea deal, got immunity while I drew 15 in Stateville for felony arson and conspiracy. "It's for your own good," he whispered through the visitor glass on my first day inside. "Teaches you to man up. Man up." Those words haunted the concrete walls, the shank fights in the yard, the nights I stared at the bars wondering if Mom's ghost was laughing. Out on parole after 12, I was 30, a ghost in my own life. Changed my name to Tom Hale, Harlan too tainted, too tied to the old man's web. Landed in Seattle first, washing dishes in Pike Place. Then bounced to Austin for a stint in construction. Always chasing that itch to build something real. Something not soaked in lies. But Dad, he thrived. From what I pieced together via burner phones and library computers, he'd cashed in on my fall, sold his story to a true crime podcaster, invested the payout in legit flips-up in Wrigleyville, rubbing elbows with aldermen and realtors. By 2025, Jack Harlan was a name, philanthropist now, donating to youth programs in the hoods he'd gutted. The ultimate redemption arc for a city that loves its sinners sainted. Invited to galas. Quoted in the Tribune on second chances. Second chances, my ass. He'd stolen mine, buried it under a mountain of perjured testimony, and bought silence. I returned to Chicago on a Greyhound that reeked of stale cigarettes and regret. $8,000 in my pocket from odd jobs. A .38 snub nose tucked in my waistband like an old friend's promise. Not to kill him, not yet. Revenge isn't a bullet, it's a slow bleed. I rented a basement walk-up in Pilsen. Got a gig as a handyman for a slumlord who didn't ask questions, and started digging. Public records first. Deeds showing how he'd laundered the arson payouts into condos now fetching 7 figures. Then the whispers, old contacts from the block. The ones who owed him favors but hated his guts. Turns out,
Maria Ruiz,
she'd clawed her way up too. Now a community organizer with legal aid. Still fighting evictions. And get this, Dad had reached out to her a year back, apologizing through a foundation check, like blood money could wash the smoke from her lungs. But the real hook sank in at a dive bar off division, nursing a PBR while a washed-up bookie named Frankie spilled for a 20. Your old man? He's got skeletons deeper than the L tracks.
Kid.
That Ruiz broad wasn't the first. Back in '99, before you were knee-high, he torched a whole block in Bronzeville, tenants trapped inside. Cops called it faulty wiring, but word is he paid off the inspector. And your ma? Overdose. My hairy ass. She was gonna sing to the feds about his mob ties. Found her in the tub, wrists open, but no razor. Pills scattered like confetti. Harlan covered it, blamed the junkies downstairs.
Mama.
The woman who'd hummed Sweet Caroline while frying Spam, who kissed my scraped knees and whispered I'd be president someday. Dad's hands on her? The thought twisted like barbed wire in my gut. I confronted Frankie with the nose of my piece under the table. But he swore he'd seen the payout envelope to the coroner. Fat with Franklin's. That night, I didn't sleep. I planned. Not some movie bullshit with car chases and monologues, real revenge. The kind that guts a man from the inside. I'd dismantle his empire brick by brick, expose the rot, make the room, the whole goddamn city, stand not for him, but against the lie he'd built. Step 1: the gala. Harlan Foundation's annual black tie bash at the Palmer House. All crystal chandeliers and champagne flutes masking the stench of hypocrisy. I crashed it as a caterer's assistant. Fake ID. Rented tux under my whites, slipping through the service doors like a shadow. There he was. Center stage. Silver-haired fox in a tailored Zegna. Toasting the kids we lift up, while his eyes scanned for donors. I watched from the kitchen pass-through, heart hammering like a jackhammer on asphalt, as he shook hands with Maria Ruiz, her, in a sleek red gown, smiling polite but her eyes like daggers. She'd taken his money, or played him. Didn't matter, seeing them in the same frame lit the fuse. I spiked his scotch with a double dose of fentanyl, street shit. Untraceable in the mix, lifted from a junkie contact in the loop. Not enough to drop him cold, just to fuzz the edges. Make him slur his speech like the drunk he pretended not to be. Then, the whispers, I planted docs in the men's room photocopier, deeds with forged notes linking his donations to the old arsons, timestamps matching my trial records. Anonymous texts to reporters in the crowd. Check the foundation's 990s. Harlan's charity is built on graves. By dessert. The room buzzed, phones out. Murmurs rising like smoke. Dad took the mic for his big speech. Voice thick. Eyes glazing as the fent kicked in. Ladies. Gentlemen.
Tonight.
We honor. Second chance-ish. That's when I stepped out. Tray in hand. But no glasses, just me.
Tom Hale.
Face shaved clean. Hair slicked back like the prodigal son returned. Actually, I said, loud enough to cut the jazz band. It's first chances that count. Like the one you stole from me. Dad. The room froze. Cameras flashed. Maria's head snapped my way. Recognition dawning slow. Dad's face, God. That face, drained white, then purple. As he slurred my old name. Tommy? What the foo? Chaos erupted. Security lunged. But the docs hit inboxes. Tweets exploding. Harlan exposed trending before the tiramisu cooled. I didn't run. I stood, letting the badges cuff me while the gala dissolved into shouts, supporters defending his redemption, victims' families in the back howling for blood. Dad collapsed mid-denial. Fent and Fury doing their dance. Rushed to Northwestern in an ambulance wail. I smiled for the perp walk cams. The city's pulse under my feet. But as they slammed the squad door, Maria slipped me a card through the window grate. We need to talk. For real this time. Prison again? Fine. This time, I'd own the bars. The holding cell at Cook County smelled like piss and broken promises. The same cinderblock hell that swallowed me at 18. But now I was the storm, not the driftwood. They processed me slow. Arson tip-off turned assault with intent, plus the fentanyl bump elevating it to attempted murder, while outside, the media circus pitched tense. My mugshot hit CNN by midnight. The headline screaming, "Prodigal son returns. Harlan heir alleges paternal frame-up."
Heir.
Funny word for the bastard spawn who'd been written off as collateral. Dad stabilized in ICU. Tubes snaking his arms like accusations. But his lawyers were already spinning. Tragic family rift exploited by a parole violator seeking attention. Attention? I'd give M the full show. From the bullpen phone, I called Maria Ruiz, her card burning a hole in my pocket like contraband nitro. She picked up on the second ring. Voice steel-wrapped in silk. Tom Harlan, or whatever you're calling yourself now. You just lit a match under the wrong powder keg. No hello. No pity, straight to the jugular. The way Chicago women do when they've stared down worse than a ghost with a grudge. Meet me at the old spot.
6 Uhr morgens.
Don't make me regret this. The old spot. That row house off Halstead. Now a boarded-up husk with graffiti tags like war wounds, burn baby burn in faded spray. Irony's cruel joke. I posted bail at dawn. Crowdfunded by truth seekers on X. The digital mob that turns pariahs into folk heroes overnight. $50,000. Wired anonymous. With notes like, for the real victims. Stepping into the muggy July air felt like rebirth. The L train rattling overhead like applause. Maria was there when I arrived, leaning on a chain-link fence. Her red gown swapped for jeans and a hoodie. Hair pulled back tight. Eyes scanning me like a threat assessment. Up close. She was sharper than I remembered, mid-40s now. Lines etched from court battles. But that fire? Unquenched. You look like him, she said. Not a compliment. But harder. What the hell was that stunt last night? You could have killed him. Permanently this time. Would have been mercy. I lit a smoke. Offering her one. She waved it off. He torched your place. Maria. Framed me for it. And Mom.
Jesus.
He might have. My voice cracked. The weight of Frankie's bar tail hitting fresh. She studied me, then sighed, pulling a manila folder from her satchel. Yellowed clippings. Coroner's reports. The kind of paper trail that screams cold case. Your mom's death? I looked into it after you tipped me off back then. Sloppy cover-up. Pills mismatched to her talk screen. No prints on the tub. But Jack? He had alibis stacked like poker chips. Irish crew vouched him in from Gary that night. She flipped to a photo. Mom. Young and laughing in a Polaroid. Arm around a teenage Jack. Both in White Sox caps. They were wild once. Love like a bar fight, messy. Bloody. But he changed when the mob squeezed him out. Started seeing ghosts. Paranoia about snitches. Your ma got caught in the crossfire. Caught how? I snatched the folder. Heart thudding. The reports blurred. Time of death 2:17 a.m. Suicide by ingestion and laceration, but the ME's notes flagged inconsistencies. Wrist cuts too shallow for lethality. Stomach contents suggesting force-fed. He drowned her hopes first, then tried the rest. Maria's jaw tightened. Not tried.
Did.
But he didn't act alone. There was a partner, some ghost in the machine. Guy named Eddie Voss. Old numbers runner. Vanished after her death. But I traced payouts to him through Shellcore. Your dad kept him fat.
Silent.
Until now. She tapped a fresh printout. Voss's obit. 6 months back. Heart attack in a Vegas motel. Convenient. But before he croaked, he talked to me. Recorded it all. Jack's whole playbook. The Bronzeville Blaze in '99. 8 souls gone. Blamed on gang crossfire. He paid off fire marshals. Cops. Even a judge for your trial. You were the perfect scapegoat, loyal kid. No street cred to fight back. Rage boiled. Hot and familiar. But I tamped it. This wasn't blind fury, it was scalpel work. Why help me now? You took his check. Played the long game. Her laugh was bitter. Wind scattering it like ash. That apology?
Bait.
He wanted absolution. A photo op for his board. I cashed it. Funneled every cent to my tenant's fund. Screwed him twice.
But you?
You're the loose end he fears. Last night. You cracked the facade. Now the DA sniffing. Feds too, Rico angles on his foundation as a front. But careful.
Tom.
Jack's not done. He's got dirt on everyone, including you.
Dirt.
The word hung, and I flashed to Stateville. The shank scar on my ribs from a debt I didn't know. The accidental shiving that nearly bought me a toe tag. Dad's reach. Long even behind bars. What dirt? She hesitated. Eyes flicking to the street, paranoia catching. The real reason he framed you. Not just the arsons. There was a bigger score. Laundering for the cartels. Post-crash. You walked in on a drop, witnessed him handing bricks to a Zetas lieutenant in that Halstead basement. He couldn't risk you flipping.
So.
The fall guy was born. A Zetas hit? Christ. That explained the whispers in the yard. The snitch tags that made every meal a gamble. Eddie's tape has it all. But accessing it means going through Voss's widow in Reno. She's spooked. Wants protection. We hashed it on the stoop, plans forming like storm clouds. I'd fly out under the radar, charm or coerce the tape, while she rallied her network, victims' families, ex-cops with grudges. By noon, I was on a Southwest red-eye. Burner phone buzzing with updates. Dad discharged. Holed up in his Gold Coast penthouse. Lawyers circling like vultures. The Tribune ran my op-ed, ghostwritten by Maria's paralegal, My Father's House of Lies, A Survivor's Reckoning. Comments exploded. Hero or psycho? Finally, a Harlan with balls. The split was instant, the city dividing like a cracked fault line. Reno hit like a fever dream, slot machine din and desert dust. The widow Voss a chain-smoking ghost in a trailer park off the strip. Lorraine, pushing 60, eyes like chipped flint, poured me bourbon without asking. Eddie said you'd come someday. Called you the boy who got away. The tape was a microcassette, hidden in a hollowed Bible, grainy audio of Dad's voice. Cold as Lake Michigan. Light the bitch up.
Eddie.
Tommy'll take the heat. Kids too dumb to run. My ma screams faint in the background. Then silence, punctuated by Jack's laugh. Family first. Right? I pocketed it. But Lorraine grabbed my wrist, nails digging. He didn't do it alone. Your old man? Puppet strings pulled higher. Cartel brass in the loop. But the real boss was her. She nodded to a faded photo on the fridge. Maria Ruiz. Younger. Arm in arm with Eddie at a block party. They were lovers once. She fed him intel on the tenants. Set the traps. After the fire, guilt ate her, turned activist to atone. But the tape? It implicates her too. The room spun. Maria? The ally with the folder. The fire in her eyes? Betrayal's second punch. Deeper than Dad's fists. I flew back hollow. Tape burning my pocket like Judgment Day. Chicago welcomed me with rain-slick streets. Thunder rumbling like distant artillery. Maria waited at a coffee shop in Wicker Park. Neutral ground. Her face unreadable over a black Americano. Get what you need. I slid the cassette across the table, watching her flinch. More than that. Eddie was your canary, singing your sins too. Her color drained, but she didn't deny, just leaned in, voice a whisper. I was 22.
Tom.
Trapped in his web like you. Thought playing along bought safety for my kids. After the fire, I broke free, built something better. But yeah, blood on my hands. Yours too. Maybe. You torched 3 places before I got your warning. The admission hung. A mirror to my own gray. We'd both danced in the flames.
Survivors stained.
So what now? We burn him together. Or you flip to save your halo. She smiled, sad and sharp. Together. But the tape stays buried till the gala sequel, his big donor dinner next month. We drop it live. Make the room stand for the dead.
Alliance reforged.
Fragile as cracked ice. But as I walked out into the downpour, doubt gnawed. Was she scheming still? Flipping faces like Dad? Or was this the real second chance? 2 ghosts haunting the machine? Either way, the penthouse loomed. Time to pay house calls. The Gold Coast penthouse was a fortress of glass and lies. 30 stories above Lakeshore Drive, where the elite sipped martinis and pretended the South Side was a myth. I cased it for a week, delivery guy in a UPS polo, spotting the cameras, the doorman's lazy sweep, the private elevator that hummed like a predator's purr. Dad's security was laughable post-gala, 2 ex-cops moonlighting, more interested in the flat screen than patrols. Their rotations clockwork from 8 p.m. Boilermakers. Maria fed me blueprints from City Hall hacks, service ducks snaking from the garage, a blind spot in the HVAC chase. In like a rat, out like a fox, she texted, her emojis a dark joke. But doubt festered. That tape, her voice on it. Faint. Directing Eddie. The Ruiz woman? She's trouble. Handle it quiet. Quiet meant gasoline and goodbyes. I confronted her over burner calls from payphones in Logan Square. Voice low amid the hipster chatter. You set your own trap? How many atonements before the math works out? Silence. Then, I was his whore before I was his enemy.
Tom.
Fed him scraps to survive. Until the scraps were my neighbors' lives. The fire? My line in the sand. I warned you because I saw myself in that scared kid's eyes. Plausible. Poetic even. The American dream's flip side. Redemption through ruin. But trust? In this town, it's rarer than a clean cop. Still, we pressed. She lined up witnesses for the donor dinner, Bronzeville survivors. A retired me with a grudge, while I prepped the drop. The .38 stayed holstered. This war was words and wires now. Not lead. Entry night. Humidity thick as regret. I slipped the garage in a stolen janitor's cart. Tools clinking like guilty secrets. The duct was a coffin of sheet metal. Elbows scraping my shoulders as I army crawled upward. Flashlight beam dancing on insulation pink as Pepto. Sweat stung my eyes. Lungs burning by the 20th floor. But adrenaline's a hell of a drug. Pushed me to the vent overlooking the living room. There he was, Dad. Propped in a leather recliner. Scotch in hand. CNN muted on his disgraced face. Thinner now. Cheeks hollowed. But the eyes? Same predator gleam. Scanning his phone for spin control. A nurse bustled in, private hire. Oblivious, checking his foredrip for the chest pains that kept the lawyers at bay. I waited till she left, then popped the grate silent as a sigh. Dropped to the Persian rug. .38 drawn but low. Evening.
Pop.
Miss me? He didn't flinch, didn't even spill his drink, just turned slow.
Liquidate. Tommy.
Knew you'd come sniffing.
Sit.
Drink. That voice. Gravel and gin. Offering civility like it erased the cage. I stayed standing. Gun steady. No games. The tape's live stream ready. Your donors, bigwigs from the Merc. Tech bros laundering their own sins. They'll hear you orchestrate mom's end. Eddie's dead. Lorraine's talking. Game over. His laugh wheezed, but it cut. Tape?
Goo.
You think that's the ace?
Boy.
You're playing checkers in a chess hall. He tapped his phone. Screen blooming with a video thumbnail. Me, 18 and wide-eyed. Pouring gas on a Pilsen duplex. Flames licking the night as sirens wailed distant. Unseen footage. Time-stamped pre-tip-off. Insurance. Remember? For us. You lit 4 before Maria's playhouse. Hypocrite much? The room tilted. My hands, those hands igniting homes, families fleeing in nightgowns. I'd buried it. Blamed the frame. But the flicker of match?
Mine.
You pushed. Taut. He leaned forward, eyes locking like vices. Life's a burn.
Son.
You or them. I saved you from worse. The Zetas drop you walked in on? That was my mess. Yeah. But testifying kept you from a ditch in Juarez. 15 years? A vacation compared to their welcome. Lies layered like lacquer. But cracks showed, the tremor in his hand, the way he glanced at the balcony doors. Wind whipping the drapes like nooses. And your ma? Tragic. Sure. But she chose the pills, chose weakness. I built this, sweeping arm to the skyline view, from ashes. For you. If you'd manned up. Rage surged. Gun rising. But the door buzzed, nurse back. Or security. I backed to the vent. Hissing, donor night. Stand down. Or the world hears the real Jack Harlan. He smirked, raising his glass. They already know a version. Yours? Just noise. But come home.
Tommy.
We fix this. Family. I fled down the duct. Heart a war drum. Emerging in the garage slick with sweat and sisms. Family. The word soured. But his footage gnawed. Proof I wasn't pure. Just another cog in the machine. Maria met me at a safe house in Humboldt Park. A walk-up crammed with files and takeout boxes. You get eyes on him?
Worse.
Leverage. I tossed the phone copy, hacked from his cloud en route. Risky but ripe. Her face hardened as she watched me torch the pills and job. No sound but the whoosh and crackle.
Shit.
This plays. You're complicit. We both are. Exactly his play. I paced. Floorboards creaking like bones. He flips the script. Victim dad. Prodigal arsonist. But the tape counters his voice. Clear as a bell. We synced it. Donor dinner in 2 weeks. McCormick Place. 500 power players. I'd pose as foundation staff. Maria's forged creds planned a projector hack during his keynote. Live feed the audio. Intercut with my confession footage debunked as coerced. Witnesses flanked the exits, ready to testify. No escape, she said, but her eyes darted guilt or plotting. Nights blurred into reconnaissance, tailing his lawyer, a slick weasel named Hargrove, to steakhouses where deals dripped in A1. Eavesdropped deals for hush funds to gala victims, bribes masked as settlements. One slip, Hargrove on the phone. The kids bluffing, Voss tapes ash. But Ruiz?
They deeper.
She's the pivot.
Pivot.
Maria as the weak link? I shadowed her next. From legal aid to a taqueria meet with ex-cons, our witnesses, watching her hand off envelopes. Smiles too warm. Paranoia peaked when I spotted a tail on her. Black SUV. Tinted. Circling like sharks. Confrontation at midnight. Her apartment in Ukrainian village smelling of sage and suspicion. Who's the shadow? Maria? Cartel echoes. Or dad's dogs. She poured tequila. Shots clinking like toasts to the damned. My past.
Catching wind.
Zeta's remnant. Eddie owed them post-laundering bust. They think I have his stash codes. Lie or half-truth. Her hand shook on the glass. But you, trusting me with the hack? After the tape, I trust the enemy of my enemy. Half-lie. We drilled the plan. My entry via catering again. Projector splice at 8:15. Her signal the mic drop. But as she leaned close, mapping the stage, her perfume, jasmine and gun oil, stirred something primal. A spark in the dark. Why you? Tom? Why not walk away? Start clean in Seattle. Because clean's a myth. This city's in my veins, good.
Bad.
Burned. Our eyes held. The room shrinking, until her lips brushed mine, tentative. Then fierce. A collision of survivors. Sex followed. Raw and urgent on the futon. Bodies mapping scars like territories. After, tangled in sheets, she whispered, Jack offered me a deal today. Immunity for you, if I bury the witnesses. There it was, the flip. Or test. And told him to fuck his legacy. But dawn brought the SUV again, idling outside. Trust fractured. But the dinner loomed. I armed up, knife in boot, .38 in shoulder rig, ready for the room to erupt. Dad's empire teetered. But so did mine. In the city of big shoulders, even the Avengers bleed. McCormick Place sprawled like a concrete behemoth on the lakefront, its halls echoing with the ghosts of trade shows past, booths of gadgets and glad-handing now cleared for velvet ropes and violin quartets. The Harlan Foundation donor dinner, $10,000 plates. A-listers in Armani mingling with Midwest moguls. All to empower urban youth. Irony thick as the foie gras canapés. I slipped in at 6 p.m. Caterer's vest starched stiff. Earpiece crackling Maria's feed from the green room. Security's light, post-gala jitters. Your Windows 810 to 820. Don't improv. Improv was my middle name since Stateville poker games turned deadly. The projector rig waited in the AV closet. A beast of cables and cooling fans I'd prepped at shift start, spliced port ready for the thumb drive. Mom's tape, looped with timestamps. Victim affidavits scrolling like indictments. Hargrove prowled the floor already. Paunch, straining his cummerbund, schmoozing a cluster of tech VCs while eyeing exits. Dad, fashionably late, chauffeured in a black Escalade. Stepping out Hale in a charcoal Tom Ford. Arm linked with a blonde arm candy half his age, trophy or shield. His eyes swept the crowd, landing on Maria at the bar. Her gown emerald like envy. She raised a flute in mock toast, he sneered. Then scanned for me. Pre-dinner cocktails dragged, small talk with waitstaff about the drama, whispers of boycotts from civil rights groups. I played invisible, refilling flutes, ears tuned to the hum. Harlan's washed up. Kids got balls, or bats in the belfry. The split deepened. X feeds on my burner lighting up with polls. Team Harlan or Team Truth? 52 to 48. Teetering. At 7:45, Maria sidled close during a tray swap. Breath hot. Witnesses in place. Bronzeville mom.
The me.
But Zeta's tail's outside.
Circling.
If it goes south. It won't.
Lie.
My gut twisted. The .38s wait a cold comfort under the vest. We shared a look, last night's tangle replaying in flashes. Then she melted into the throng. Mike clipped to her clutch for the post-drop testimony. Cocktails segued to seating, round tables draped white. Centerpieces of calla lilies mocking purity. I drew Dad's periphery, clearing plates while he held court, voice booming on resilience, the blonde nodding like a bobblehead. Close enough to smell his cologne, cigar and conquest. I palmed the drive, slipping to the AV nook during dessert chaos. Fingers steady. I jacked it in, syncing the loop, 8:15 cue from the MC's intro. Back out. Heart jackhammering, just as the lights dimmed for his keynote. Spotlight hit him center stage. Podium gleaming under chandeliers like a throne. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Foundation, thank you for standing with us in turbulent times. Applause polite. Strained. He launched into the script, stats on at-risk youth, anecdotes scrubbed of sin, while I hovered stage left, thumb on the remote trigger in my pocket. Maria caught my eye from table 5. Nod subtle. 8:17.
Click.
The screen behind him flickered, not slides, but static. Then audio bloom. Dad's voice. Tinny and timeless. Light the bitch up,
Eddie.
Tommy'll take the heat. Gasps rippled. Chairs scraping as heads turned. The tape rolled, grainy reenactment visuals I'd mocked up from reports. Flames devouring a Bronzeville tenement, overlaid with Mom's photo fading to black and white corner sketches. She was gonna sing. Weakness. His face on the feed. Younger.
Smirking.
The room detonated, shouts from the back. Murderer? Mingled with defenders' bellows. Deep fake. Libel. Foams out. Live streams igniting. Dad froze mid-sentence. Mike feedback screeching like a banshee. What the? This is a forgery. Security. But Hargrove was already on stage, fumbling the cord, while Maria rose, voice amplified by her clutch. Not forgery.
Jack. Truth.
I was there. Your associate Eddie Voss confessed it all. The me followed. Gray's suit rumpled. Cause of death. Asphyxiation masked as suicide. Paid off by Harlan Enterprises. Check number 4782. Bronzeville Mom next. Tears streaming. My boy burned alive because your greed torched our home. Pandemonium. Donors fleeing to coat check. VCs huddling with counsel. A fistfight erupting tableside between a union boss and a realtor. Dad lunged for the podium edge. Eyes locking mine across the melee. Recognition dawning.
Fury pure.
You little shit. He barreled off stage. Security parting the crowd like Moses. Straight for me. I backed into the wings. .38 itching. But Maria intercepted, grabbing his arm. Hissing low. It's over.
Jack. Fait en route, Rico.
Manslaughter. He shoved her hard, sending her sprawling into a toppled chair. Skirt tearing. That did it, Red Haze. I charged, tackling him to the carpet amid trampled linens. Fists flying. For Mom, knuckle-connected jaw. Crack echoing over the din. He fought dirty, thumb to my eye. Knee to gut, but age and Fent flashback slowed him. Security hauled us apart. Zip ties biting wrists. As blue lights flashed through the hall windows. CPD. Sirens wailing. In the scrum, his whisper cut through. You think this ends me? The footage I have, your hands on the cans.
Kid.
Cartel drop? You held the bag once. Laughed about it. We're the same.
Same.
The word poisoned. Especially as Maria scrambled up, clutching her side. Eyes meeting mine, not ally, but mirror. Zeta's? Her tail? Or his? Cuffed in the wagon. Gala fallout exploding on squad radios. Harlan arrested. Son in custody. Ruiz lawyered up. I tasted blood. Victory sour. The room had stood. All right, not for me, but against the lie. But as we rolled to lock up, Dad's laugh echoed from the adjacent cruiser. Welcome home.
Tommy.
Family reunions just starting. Outside. Rain lashed the windows, blurring the city lights into smears. Redemption? Or recursion? The tape was out. Viral now. But his dirt clung like tar. And Maria, lover. Liar? Her text buzzed through. We did it. But the Zetas want their cut. Meet at the safe house. Trust me.
Trust.
In the city that chews it up, I pocketed the phone, wondering if the real revenge was learning no one's clean. Lockup was a circus of fluorescent buzz and barked orders. The bullpen a zoo of lowlifes eyeing the fresh meat, me. Gala hero/villain. Splashed across holding cell walls on smuggled tablets. Yo. Harlan Jr., you really deck your pops. Laughter grated. But I stayed mute. Mind replaying the melee. Dad's crumple. Maria's sprawl. The screen's glow etching faces in shock. Charges piled quick: assault, trespass, conspiracy to defame, but Maria's firm worked fast. Bail hearing set for dawn. I paced the 8x10, concrete cold under bare feet, replaying his parting shot. We're the same. Was it bluff? Or bone-deep truth? Dawn broke gray, rain sheeting the barred window like tears for the wicked. Court was a formality, Judge. A grizzled ex-prosecutor with a soft spot for family dramas sprung me on $100,000, half covered by a victim fund Maria tapped. Out into the deluge. Uber to the safe house. Burn her dead, but hers live. Waiting. Hurry. The walk-up in Humboldt reeked of last night's takeout. Her silhouette pacing the kitchenette. Bruise blooming purple on her cheek from the shove. Jesus. Tom, you okay? No hug. Just coffee black as sin. Handed over with a wince.
Bruce Dego.
Mostly. I sipped, scalding my tongue, punishment fitting. Dad's in a cell too, assault on you. Plus the old warrants cracking open. Feds swarmed McCormick post-arrest. Seized his servers. Rico, nets wide. Tribune headlines screamed, Harlan Empire crumbles. Arson. Murder ties exposed. Stock in his foundation tanking. Donors fleeing like rats from a blaze. Poetic. But her eyes dodged mine. The Zeta's text. Cut meaning what? She sank to the futon, rubbing her temples. Eddie's stash, laundered cash. $2 mill in offshore bonds. Codes in the tape's liner notes. They want it. Or my head on a pike. Jack knew, used it as leverage on me last year. Confessions spilled then. Halting, her affair with Eddie not just survival, but spark, love in the shadows. Plotting escape till the Bronzeville job soured it. I fed Jack scraps to protect us. But Eddie. He burned for me. Literally. Tears tracked mascara. But I caught the flicker, rehearsed, the gala.
My Hail Mary.
Now they're circling. Threats to my kids in Milwaukee.
Kids.
Plural now. Grown but vulnerable. Sympathy tugged. But suspicion barbed it. And the tail on you pre-dinner? His or theirs? She stiffened, then pulled her phone, screenshots of voicemails. Heavy accents demanding the Ruiz debt. Theirs. But Jack amplified, tipped them after your penthouse visit. Bastards flipping every table. Alliance strained, but necessity glued it. We decoded the liner, numbers etched micro, leading to a Cayman's account frozen post-tape leak. Gone, she said, relief edged with loss. But they'll come anyway. Plan B brewed over lukewarm eggs. Expose the cartel link. Draw feds as shield. I hit the streets. Old contacts in the loop. Frankie the bookie. Now a semi-legit bouncer at a Rush Street club. He met me in the alley, reeking of stale beer. Face folding like origami. Zetas?
Kid.
You're in the deep end. They're Chicago cells run by a ghost, El Phantasma, ex-lieutenant turned freelancer. Hates loose ends like Voss's widow. Or you. Frankie slipped a burner sim. Contacts for a crooked Fed who'd flipped syndicates. But watch Ruiz. Eddie's boys whispered she skimmed. Kept 10% for her cause.
Skimmed.
The word festered as I tailed her to legal aid, watching her huddle with paralegals, phone glued to ear. Paranoia peaked when the SUV rolled by again, plates tracing to a rental under Hargrove's alias. Dad's lawyer. Playing messenger? I cornered her post-meeting in a coffee shop fogged with espresso steam. Skim from the cartel? That your atonement budget. Her slap stung. Quick as regret. Fuck you.
Tom.
Eddie and I, we built a life from the scraps. That 10%? College for my girl. House down payment. Not blood money, survival. Raw. Real. But the math, her activist shine funded by ghosts. We argued circuitous. Voices rising till the barista glared. Then crashed back to the safe house, anger flipping to hunger. Bodies colliding in a frenzy of need and spite. After, spent and sticky, she murmured, I love you. Maybe. Or hate what you see. But we're in it. In it deep. Dad's arraignment hit the news that afternoon, televised from the Dirksen. Him in orange jump. Pleading not guilty to a laundry list. Manslaughter. Fraud. Conspiracy. His spin. Victim of a vengeful son and jilted ex. Camera caught me in the gallery. Anonymous till a reporter pounced post-hearing. Mr. Hale, is Ruiz your accomplice? Flashbulbs popped. I bolted, but not before spotting Hargrove in the hall. Slipping an envelope to a Zetas tattooed thug. Ink like Aztec warnings. The Fed contact. Detective Reyes. Met me at a diner off Cicero, pockmarked face. Tie loose. Coffee cooling untouched. Harlan's cartel ties? Old news. But the tape's gold. We flip him for reduced. But El Phantasma's the prize, arms trafficking now. Ghosts the old cash games. Reyes eyed me sharp. Ruiz? She's cleanish. But her skim flagged Interpol. You vouch. Or we squeeze her first?
Vouch.
For the woman who'd burned with me, or the thief who'd burned others. I hedged, trading the SUV plates for a wire, Reyes's team tapping Hargrove's line. That night, intercepts crackled. Boss says ice the kid and the bitch. Dinner was too close. Dad's voice. Tinny, do it quiet. Tommy's mine. Quiet meant graves. Maria and I holed up, guns drawn. Windows barred with plywood. Tension coiled, arguments over trust devolving to silences. Then touches. A toxic cycle. Dawn brought the breach. Door splintering. Shadows flooding the hall, 3 Zetas. Masked. AKs chattering suppressed. We fought feral. I dropped one with a .38.
Me shot.
Maria's Glock barking from the kitchen. Tagging another in the thigh. The third grazed my shoulder. Fire lancing. Before Reyes's cavalry crashed in, sirens whooping. Flashbangs blooming. In the aftermath. Blood-slick floors. Maria bandaging my wound with trembling hands. We're alive. But Reyes cuffed the survivors. Then turned. Ruiz, Interpol hold. Skims extraditable. Her face crumpled. Betrayal's echo. Tom. I met her eyes. Gun heavy in my lap. Go. I'll stall. She fled out back. Into the sprawl. While I spun for the Fed. She's key witness. Cartel inside man. Lie bot time. But as ambulances wailed, Dad's laugh echoed in my head. Same?
No.
But close enough to bleed. The city healed slow. Scars like mine. The safe house siege made front pages. Harlan vendetta turns deadly. Cartel clash in Humboldt. With my face blurred. Maria's absent. Reyes stonewalling the press like a pro. Dad's cell got cozier. Added charges of solicitation for murder. His bail revoked pending trial. But victory tasted like cordite and betrayal. The skim revelation carving doubts deeper than bullets. I ghosted for a week. Motel on the north side. Shoulder stitched sloppy. At a free clinic. Burner to Reyes. Ruiz in the wind? His reply. Canada border ping. She spooked, Interpol cooling heels on my say. For now.
For now.
Trust's currency devalued daily. I hit the stacks at the Harold Washington Library. Microfilm dives into 99 clippings, Bronzeville blaze buried under gang violence, but obits named the dead. Kids. Elders. A teacher named Lena Voss, Eddie's sister? The web tightened. Lorraine's tales ringing truer. Maria's skim? Not greed. Maybe reparations. Funneled quiet to survivors' funds. Or self-preservation. Padding her escape. Either way, she'd flipped from victim to vector. And I was collateral again. Reyes called me in for debrief at a federal safe house in Oak Park. Bunker vibe. Coffee urns and whiteboards scrawled with org charts. El Fantasma's ID'd. Raul Mendez. Ex-Zetas. Now solo in the Calumet corridor. Your pops is money man, foundation shells washing AK sales. He slid photos. Hargrove dead in a ditch off I-94. Throat slit. Envelope from the arraignment gone. Jack's cleaning house. Tipped Mendez on the skim. Ruiz was the bait.
Bait.
For me. Or her. We raid tonight. Mendez's warehouse. UNSCI. Wire. Vest. The works. CI. Confidential informant. The snitch's crown. Stateville flashbacks. Yard whispers turning to shivs.
But Maria?
She's clean. Reyes shrugged. Eyes flat. Skims petty next to Harlan's ledger. Help us bag Mendez. She walks. Deals struck. Vest heavy under flannel. Wire itching like accusation. The raid hit at 2 a.m., SWAT stack breaching a rusted warehouse off the river. Stygian dark pierced by tack lights. I flanked Reyes. .38 swapped for a fetish Glock. Pulse thundering as doors blew. Shouts in Spanglish. Muzzle flashes stitching the gloom. 2 tangos down. Crates of smuggled hardware spilling like guts. Mendez cornered in the office. Kilo bricks on the desk. His laugh a rasp. Harlan's boy? Come to join the family business. Cuffed and bleeding. He spat details. Dad's visits. Post frame. Plotting comebacks. Ruiz? She skimmed. Yeah. But Jack? He burned the block for her. Lena Voss, his side piece once. Eddie killed her in the fire to cover the affair. Your ma found out. Threatened to spill. Twist upon twist. The machine grinding bones. Mendez grinned. Teeth gold. Jack framed you to bury it all. But Ruiz? She knew, loved Eddie. Hated Jack. Skimmed to avenge Lena. Avenge. Maria as Avenger too? The raid wrapped with Dawn's creep. Mendez helicoptered out. Warehouse taped. Reyes clapped my back. Good work.
Hail.
Charges drop, yours and hers. Harlan's fucked. Wiretaps have him greenlighting the hit. But as I peeled off the vest, phone buzzed unknown. Calumet.
Now. M.
Maria. The riverfront was fog-shrouded. Freighters moaning like whales. Her figure huddled by a chain-link overlook. Duffel at feet. Tom. Voice cracked. Embrace fierce despite the shoulder twinge. Reyes cutty loose?
Yeah.
Mendez sang Lena Voss. Your link. She nodded. Deflating. Eddie's sister. Jack's fling pre-mom. But the fire? Payback for mom threatening divorce over it. Eddie lit it on orders. But Maria Ruiz, me, I was the lookout. 19 and stupid. Thinking love with Eddie bought silence. Tears mixed with mist. After. I ran, changed my name quiet. Built legal aid to bury the guilt. The skim? Lena's fund, scholarships for burn survivors. But Jack found me years later. Blackmailed. Play nice. Or, he outs me. Blackmail's chain. Linking us all. Why not tell me?
Fear.
You'd see the monster. Not the mask. Honesty raw. But the SUV memory lingered. Her tail. Or decoy. We walked the pier. City lights haloed. Hashing escape. Her to Milwaukee with the kids.
Me.
Somewhere not Chicago. But sirens wailed distant Reyes? Or worse. Paranoia spiked. I drew. Scanning shadows. Mendez had a cell, back up. Footsteps crunched gravel. 2 goons. Zeta's ink fresh. Pistols glinting. For the ghost, 1 growled.
Aiming.
Time dilated. I shoved Maria behind a pylon. Glock barking, double-tap center mass on the lead. But the second clipped my thigh. Fire blooming. She fired back. Steady, her Glock from the safe house, dropping him clean. We slumped against the rail. Blood pooling. Her hands pressing my wound. Hospital.
No.
Too hot. I bandaged rough. Adrenaline ebbing to shakes. Dad's trial, next week. We testify. End it. Her nod reluctant. Together. But as we limped to her hidden Civic, a call pierced. Courthouse clerk. Voice tinny. Mr. Hale? Harlan's plea deal, reduced to fraud if he fingers Mendez higher-ups. But condition. Your recantation on the tape. Recant. The machine's maw. Chewing truth. Maria drove. Knuckles white. Don't. He's bluffing. But doubt whispered. Same as him? The ghosts circled. Demanding tolls. The Dirksen courthouse loomed like a brutalist tomb. Its halls a gauntlet of marble and malice. Security wands beeping accusations at every turn. Dad's trial open Monday. Federal spectacle, RICO. Manslaughter X8. Conspiracy to commit murder. Prosecutors stacking decks with the tape. Mendez's depot. Victim testimonies queued like mourners. I prepped with Reyes's team. Suit ill-fitting off the rack. Script drilled. My father framed me to cover his crimes, including my mother's death. Maria holed up separate, protected witness. Her skim resolved as restitution. Text cryptic. Kids safe.
See you on the stand.
Gala fallout lingered. Foundation dissolved. Assets seized. Donors sued into oblivion. Wars raged. Justice for Harlan. Framed patriarch. Versus. Burn it down. Serial arsonist expose. Comments a cesspool of kill the son and string up the dad. I avoided mirrors. The man staring back too fractured. Avenger or echo. Shoulder and thigh throbbed chronic. Pills dulling the edge. But sleep evaded. Dreams of flames and mom's tub water pink. Opening statements hit like prize fights. Ada Vasquez. Sharp and navy. Painting dad as the architect of ashes. Cueing the tape, his voice booming through speakers. Gasps from the gallery. Defense? Hargrove dead. New shark. Elena Voss, no relation. Irony's jab, spinning coerced audio. Vengeful son syndrome. Dad entered shackled. Orange jumpsuit clashing his tan. Eyes locking mine in the witness pool. Not hate, but hunger. We'll talk soon. Tommy. My turn came day 3. Stand creaking under sweat-slick palms. Vasquez led gentle. Mr. Hale. Described the frame-up. I did 18. Gas can tip off betrayal. Voice steady till mom's photo flashed. He silenced her. For the Empire. Gallery murmured. Jurors. Blue-collar mix. Faces etched empathy, leaned in. Cross? Voss pounced. You participated in arsons.
Correct?
Footage shows your hand on the match. The clip played, Pilsen duplex igniting. My face young and resolute. Coerced, I countered. But doubt flickered. The jury caught it. Maria followed. Poised in pearls. Voice ablade. As a former associate, coerced, I witnessed the Bronzeville orders. Eddie Voss executed, Jack planned. Her skim glossed, reparations, but Voss circled. You profited. Ennis. Ruiz. $200,000 diverted. Motive to fabricate. Gasps. Maria flushed, but held. Survival. Unlike Harlan's greed. Gallery split. Claps from victims' row. Hisses from suits. Recess brought the plea whisper. Bailiff slip. Harlan offers. Drop violence charges if you testify misunderstanding on the drop. I crumpled it. But Reyes cornered me in the hall. He's got pull. Warden's ear. Recant. Or he walks on technicals. Pressure cooker. Steam hissing. Back in. Mendez testified by a video, shackled in Supermax. Spilling. Harlan greenlit the Ruiz hit. Framed the boy to bury Lena's affair, my aunt. Voss blood. Jury jaws dropped. Voss objected frenzy. But the seed rooted. Night 4. Safe house lockdown breached, note under door. Recant or she burns. J. Maria's lying dead. Panic surged. I bolted to Milwaukee. Reyes trailing covert. Her sister's split level. Lights dark. Door ajar. Reek of accelerant. Inside. Maria bound to a chair.
Gagged.
Eyes wild over duct tape. 2 Zetas remnants looming with cans. For the skim. Puta. I charged blind. Glock emptying. One down gurgling. The other tackling me to Berber carpet. Fists. Boots. Then Maria's muffled shots. Scissors?
No.
Her ankle piece. .25 barking point blank. We freed her. Gasping. Kids huddled in the basement, wide-eyed teens. Her anchor. Jack's men, she wheezed. From the plea, bought silence. Reyes stormed in late. Cleanup crew. But the message landed. Dad's reach eternal. Back in Chicago. Trial fever peaked. Day 5. Closing. Vasquez thundered justice for the ashes. Voss whimpered reasonable doubt. Jury out 3 hours. Verdict. Guilty all counts. Life without parole. Gallery erupted cheers. Sobs. I stood numb as Dad was let out. Mouthing. Proud. Son. We matched. Matched. Post-trial. Press swarm. Revenge served. Maria and I dodged to a diner, Gino's. Full circle. Booth vinyl patching old wounds. It's over, she said. Hand on mine. Kids texted safe. Her firm promoted her to partner.
Me?
Parole clean. Offers for podcasts. Books, The Harlan Fall. But the twist gnawed. In the evidence dump. A letter. Mom's handwriting. Dated pre-death. Tommy. If I go quiet. No, I covered for him once. A hit on arrival. Took the blame like he asked. Love you more.
Covered.
She'd born Hisson first. The original frame. Dad's empire? Built on her silence, too. We were all complicit. The machine's cogs. Maria squeezed. Run with me? Vancouver, fresh start. Temptation tugged. But Chicago's pull, big. Brutal, held. One more ghost. The room stood that day. But for whom? Hero. Villain. Or the lie between. Visitation at Supermax felt like descending to Hades. sterile bus to Tams. Razor wire glinting under prairie sun. The visitor booth, a plexiglass confessional. Dad waited. Thinner in stripes, but eyes alive.
Scheming. Tommy.
Sit. No chains rattled. Voice carried clear. Intimate. Congrats on the W. Media darling now, book deal? Fuck the book. I leaned in. Mic, crackling static. Mom's letter, evidence room special delivery. She took a fall for you early. The hit. His smile cracked. Genuine grief flickering. Rare as snow in July.
Yeah.
92. Irish beef. I botched a drop. She drove the ghost car. Alibied me with the crew. Thought it'd end there.
Pause.
Eyes distant. But the fire. Lena Voss? That was heat of moment. Eddie panicked. Your ma walked in on the planning. Saw too much. I didn't order her death. Tommy. Just. The silence. Lie or lament. His hands trembled age. Or absolution's weight. Then why frame me? The drop, Zeta's bricks.
He sighed.
Deflating. Insurance. You were spiraling booze. Girls. That Ruiz tramp sniffing around Eddie's skirts. The frame kept you off the streets. Away from their knives. And me, clean slate post-crash. Building real. The arsons? Business.
But you.
My legacy. Legacy. The word, twisted.
Paternal poison.
Maria knew, skimmed to fund her guilt trips. But she lit the match on Pilsen too. Check the footage timestamps, her shadow in the alley. Doubts stagger again. I stood. Buzzer sounding end. Rot here. Dad. Mom's ghost says hi. But outside. Bus rumbling north. The letter burned mental. Her cursive. Protect him.
Jack.
Like I protected you. Protection's perversion. Chains of love and lies. Maria waited in Springfield, neutral. Halfway to nowhere, cafe overlooking the Capitol. Her smile tentative over pie. How'd it go? Confession roulette. Says you torched with me. I slid the letter copy across Formica. She scanned. Baling.
She. God.
I didn't know. But her eyes, did they flicker? Tom. The footage, he's splicing shadows. I watched from afar. Warned after. But yeah. Hands dirty. Dirty enough? We drove aimless. Route 66 ghosts in the rear view. Hashing futures. Her Vancouver offer. Kids' school scouted. My itch for concrete. Handyman in Seattle. Or consultant on fraud pods. Together, she asked. Hand on gear shift. Till the next ghost. Honesty's hook. Chicago faded. But echoes lingered. Trial appeals pending. Zeta's remnants hunted. My scars itching weather shifts. A month in. Settled in a rainy evergreen loft. Book ghosted, irony. Therapy unpacking the Harlan knot. Maria thrived, legal aid remote. Her story anonymized in op-eds.
Nights.
We talk twists. Was he redeemable? Are we? The debates sparked dinner parties, ex-cons. Activists, wine flowing. Sides splitting. Jack built jobs. On graves. No consensus. Just the gray. The American churn. One eve. Post-argument. Love-making slow. She whispered. Twist. I kept 5% skim for us. Emergency fund. Betrayal's echo. Small but sharp. I laughed. Pulling her close. Add it to the pot. We're all thieves here. Ending? Not happy. Not tragedy, just life. Smoldering. Dad died in custody 6 months on. Hard event. Official. Poison whispered. I didn't mourn, but visited the grave, Potter's Field. Unmarked. Stood in snow. Wind off the lake. And said, "You are wrong."
Pop.
I amounted to this. The room stood once. For the name.
Now.
I walk quiet. The city's pulse my own. Vindicated? Or just another shadow? You decide.